The Hemp Wizard Signature Series artists are Walking Corpse Syndrome, So High, Black Sasquatch, Fester, You can give your beard the magic touch by going to hempwizard.
Get ready! Get ready! Get ready! Welcome to the Hot Rocket Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to a live edition of the Hot Rocket Sports Show, live from my top Hot Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. This is your 3-hour weekly get-together where Jeff and I bring you the biggest news from around the world of hard rock, heavy metal, and, of course, the wide world of sports. And, guys, welcome to Thursday night, October the 12th in the year of our good Lord, 2023. Hope you guys have had a great week. And I got to see, was anything spectacular? Had a nice little party for my dad and my uncle last weekend. It was nice. My brother snuck into town for a day, literally a day. Good job by Rich for doing that. So I got to spend a few hours with my brother, which I don't get to do very often. So that was pretty cool. Got to spend some time with the family, and of course, what else did I did? Did some other stuff this weekend. I'm trying to think what else I did. But either way, I got to see. So I didn't see my buddies, Jeff and Paul and Joe, watched a little football together on Sunday. So had a good time, did a little diamond talk. And, of course, another work week is almost in the rearview mirror and just a few short weeks to vacation. I'm tired. Can definitely use that vacation. A little under the weather tonight, a little tired. So this might not be the longest show we've ever done. Don't know yet. We'll see how we do. But we'll definitely be here for an hour or so, and then we'll see how it goes. Maybe Jeff can get the juices flowing for me, and we stick around for the full 2 hours. But we'll see how it plays out. What's up there? Hi. How's the basement, my man? I saw the post. Got some weeds and roots and hair and stuff stuck down in that drain, man. I hope you're all right in the basement now. I did see it did not prevent you from posting Jennifer Aniston pictures, so. I think you should probably still be in good shape. I've got a one-track mind, folks. He's a blast to be friends with on Facebook, I have to tell you. So, but again, we're here, and we're going to talk a lot Jets, Giants. We'll talk Bill Belichick. With Jeff and I are going to do our top 10 2 rounds of bands that we would put into the Hard Rocket Sports, Hard Rock and Metal Hall of Fame, or maybe just the Music Hall of Fame, because you never know. Maybe a country band or a punk band or somebody else will sneak in there. So we got that. We'll talk a little bit of baseball. We got the playoffs going on. I got to tell you, if you're watching this Braves-Philly series, what a series. It's a baseball series. The rest of it, I got to be honest with you, not great. It depends. I mean, obviously, if you're a fan of certain teams, it's a good series. But in general, not great baseball. But this Philly-Brave series is a really good series. Tight. And for the most part, I think there was one blowout. But good baseball, a little heat. Got a little heat going last night, which you always want to see in a baseball series. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about this week's upcoming football games. I'll ask Jeff for the games that we're going to watch, we don't watch. We'll talk about Ozzy and Sharon's suicide pact, or assisted suicide pact, I should say. We got our visit from Pepe, and of course, our next Raider report. I wonder if he'll mention that Davante Adams wants to be traded from the Raiders. I don't know if Dom's mentioned that in his report this week. Again, Deshaun Watson bails on his team. The Cowgirls get beat like the bitches they are. And I'm sure there's a ton more. Before we get this going, we'll get this going in a second. But I do want to say one thing. I hope the world unites around this horrendous attack on Israel. Whatever you think of people, this and that, what's gone on there for 6 days, or especially last weekend, is vile. And I hope that the world and the United States in general comes together. And I'll give the Biden administration some credit. They did step up a little bit. We'll see if they got a pair of balls in this whole thing. I do want to see them go in and rescue the people who are the Americans who are stuck there and avenge the 27 who were killed. So we'll see how that plays out, but our hearts and our prayers go out to the people of Israel tonight. So I just wanted to get that out there. And that's it. So let's get the show cranking. My dad's hanging in there. We're going to get him on. He's about to celebrate a big birthday this weekend. We're going to go out and celebrate a little bit. So we'll get him on in a few. But right now, let me bring on the co-host of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, the guy who stood to the right of me for a few years in the Hard Rocket Sports Band, and my buddy of 40-plus years, the sexy and talented Mr. Jeff Tolwinski. What's up, man?
Not much, dude. What's going on?
All good, my man. All good. Just cranking up another show here. A little tired, a little under the weather. I think I'm just run. You know, you get to this point when we're at our age, you're lighting the candle at both ends, and I tend to do that with between getting stuff for the show, my work week, family, you know, little things here and there, and you know, now a little bit with the Sunday show. I got to tell you, I get run down to the point where it's tough to kind of crank the candle up a little, you know, like just kind of crank the engine up a little bit. But you know, it's always good to get Thursday nights here.
And, you need to, if you need to relax or whatever, which you should relax. I'm getting my Halloween gear going.
I see that, man. You're getting fired up. You're a couple of weeks from. Is it that you're fired up for Halloween, or is it that the minute Halloween's over, we're on to the real holidays?
Well, we are in orange mode until closer to Thanksgiving, and then we will slowly make the way over with lights and stuff like that for Xmas. But we're in no rush right now. We're enjoying everything. I don't know if you can see the windows behind me are lit up orange. The whole front of the house is lit up orange.
Nice.
And hello, Adam. And it's not Jeffrey, that just regular Jeff Czar. But don't forget Tommy, butt cutlets, and the Czar.
It doesn't stick. It hasn't stuck. It will not stick.
It sticks. I have people that you don't know about. See, the whole butt cutlets movement is going to be coming about soon.
It's a movement.
Mm-hmm. And the people have spoken, and they will be behind this. And if you can see, Adam Hines here is already speaking. That's all right, man. It's all right. It's all good. And it's all. And I feel your pain. I'm sorry, Tom. I feel your pain about the basement. I actually sold a house because of sewer-related issues.
Yeah, very true.
So I know exactly what you're going through, man. And
I do remember that. I do remember that.
I sold my family's house, a house I bought from my grandmother, because it was like a 50-something foot clay pipe to the main sewer line in the street. And then, long story short, the line collapsed. And me and my wife, we fucking jetted out of there because we were like, I don't have the money to pay for that. So it is what it is. But, man, at least that sucks, bro. That does suck.
Yes, it does. And speaking of suck, before I ask Chuck the magic question, our condolences and our thoughts go out to our good friend Frank Catalano. Not sure if Frankie's showing up tonight, but Frankie lost one of his puppies, and he was very down this week. I reached out to him off the air, and I know Frank's having a rough week, but we want to just we hope he's doing okay. So Frankie, we're out there for you, pal. Hope you're doing okay.
Yeah, horrible to have to go through what he went through, man.
Absolutely.
I feel bad. Just a little bit of a feel-good story.
Please.
I don't know what my parents are thinking, but they are buying Basset Hound Bonnie next week
Wow. How many does this make for them for Basset Hounds
Total?
total? How many have they had over the years?
Oh my God, dude, I don't know.
Is it in double digits?
It's got to be close. It has to be close. Right now, this would be number 2, but they had 5 at one point in time. Then some died off, and then they had a few replacements, and they got sick and died off, and then they got more replacements and more replacements and more replacements. I would have to sit and think. There's got to be this may be about 10, yeah.
Wow. Well, good for them. You know what? They know what they like. They know what they want, and I'm sure it's good therapy for them. And and I'm guaranteeing they give those pups a great home. So
they do. They do, but I think of them and their age and like,
oh, it's not easy.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's restrictive. I mean, I got one, and when we go away, it's like a whole process. My dad's got to come sleep over. It's a whole process. But the little guy's loved by everybody, and he's got a great home and a great life. So you look at it that way. Whatever little bit you have to sacrifice gives him that much better of a life. So
do you take him to your mother's house with you when you go there?
We do nowadays. We never used to. He's I would never say my dogs were the best trained puppies in the world. So, he's pretty good in my house, but he's not great. So, but if he makes a mistake here or there, I'll deal with it. But when I goes to other people's house, but I gotta say he's pretty good at my mom's. So, and they absolutely love him. They absolutely adore the little guy. So we do. Yeah. So I would say it's funny. We go out with my parents occasionally on the weekends for breakfast or for dinner. And the last bunch of times we've kind of found places where we could take him with us. So we'll sit outside. We have a little carriage. He sits in the carriage, and we have dinner or breakfast, and he hangs out with us. So, yeah, he's a part of the team.
Yeah, Adam, I see what you're saying there, man. My dog, unfortunately, I can't get anybody to watch my dog because she's nasty.
Oh, yeah, his dog is frightening.
Yeah, all 20 pounds of her.
All 20 pounds of her. You don't walk through it.
She means business. She don't fuck around.
She does not. Absolutely not. But well, listen, let's kick it off. Let me do it the right way, as we always do. And right here, the tagline, as they say. Jeff, how was your week?
My week started out fucking great. You know why?
You were off?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it had nothing to do with being off. That's enough.
Okay.
That's another story. I went out Sunday.
Yes.
It's not because the Jets won. It was because I got to be with Giants fans while the Giants lost.
So it's more important. It's happy. It makes you happier when the Giants lose around Giant fans than when the Jets win.
Yeah. Listen, I've seen some of your remarks in the football conversation with Matt and Frank, and I just chose never to say anything. But I've seen them. They don't go unnoticed. So fuck you and fuck your Giants. So it was great to stand next to you. But you know what? What was even better is that you realize, because you had no choice but to realize, just how bad of a team they are right now at this point in time. And I got to be honest with you. I don't know. And I know that we're going to talk about this in a little bit. I understand this. But just give you something to think about. Who do you blame, the coach or the general manager? Because to me, somebody has to bear the brunt of this. They seem like they're going backwards and trying to get there in a hurry. I understand there's a few injuries, and between New York, I don't think between the Jets and the Giants, they could put an offensive line out there, at least one good offensive line. But the Giants' offensive line, it's what is that, kryptonite? What is going on?
Yeah, that is about the worst offensive line I have ever seen. It might be the worst offensive line I've ever seen in a pro football game, let alone a pro football season. I don't know who to blame, Jeff. I'd have to say that Brian Daboll coached a really good season last year. So I got to believe he hasn't forgotten how to coach. So I'm going to blame it on scouts, general manager, coaching staff for putting this team together. It's a collective blame. But the bottom line, it's who to blame, Jeff. The players. You're a professional football player, getting paid lots of money, whether you get a league minimum or a high end deal, and you put this putrid performance. I watched every play of every game, and I've never seen more guys just whiff on blocks than I've seen this so far this year. And I can't tell you right now if Daniel Jones is a great quarterback, a good quarterback, a bad quarterback, has no business to be in the league. The guy blinks and he's getting nailed 7 times a game, 12 times a game. So I'm taking Daniel Jones out of the mix. I'm taking the receivers out of the mix. I'm going to say that the defensive line has played atrociously, and the offensive line deserves to all be put in one big box, sealed and dumped in the ocean, because that's horrendous play. So I don't know what to make of it at this point.
When it comes to players, I understand your point that the players have to bear some of the blame, of course. But when your scouting staff and coaching staff are each looking at these different players and see who's available, you can't tell me that everybody's wrong. And if they are, I mean, God, whoever hired them, needs to go, because they can't be making smart decisions. And I hear what you're saying about Daniel Jones. He, I can go along with what you said, take him out of the mix, because you don't know exactly what his part in all of this is.
No.
Especially when you step back a couple steps and, here they come. It's like there's nothing he can do. These guys, they're barely standing up out of their 3-point stance.
I watched a handful of plays last week where two guys were blocking one guy and let one guy run right past them. I mean, Jones is hitting his third step, and he's getting crushed. I mean, and after a while, it's like anything else. When you're say, I got to throw the ball here, and you're automatically making decisions based on the fact that you think you're going to get hit, it happens. I don't care who you are, how tough a play you are. So I'm taking Daniel Jones out of the mix at this point. I can't give myself a grade to grade the guy for a second, Jeff. I'll just tell you that.
I got to be honest with you. I totally understand what you're saying. You can't grade somebody if they can't perform. And it's not a matter of can he perform or can he perform. He doesn't have the time to perform.
He doesn't have the chance.
I'll put it this way. He doesn't have the environment to perform.
Absolutely. So I don't know if Darren Waller's a good player. I haven't figured out right now.
He's doing all right for us fantasy wise. So
yeah. And I agree, Louis. I think obviously Andrew Thomas is a stud. I think the kid, the center, is a good player. After that, they're all shit. I mean, Neil, even Andrew Thomas in his second year, when people were down on him, played better than what I've seen at Evan Neal so far. So Evan Neal's got to do a tremendous turnaround to save it. But the guards are horrendous. I don't care who they put out there, whether it's Shane Lemieux, whether it's McKetkin, any of these guys are just terrible. And now that Thomas is out, they got this other kid, Josh Ziju, whatever his name is, horrendous. And it's embarrassing. And you can't tell anything about this team because there isn't even the smallest chance that they can perform like they're supposed to. I don't care if Saquon Barkley played or not. He ain't gonna. It's not gonna make a difference. And the shame of it is, this is gonna turn into that. Now here, I'll say this about Joe Schoen and Dable. They came in from cap hell. Okay, they had no money to spend. They're trying to piece it together. I'm going to give them a pass for this year. That last year was a good year. This year looks like a terrible year. They got to fix this offensive line by next year. There is no 4 years, 5 years. This can't happen like the Gettleman years where you go 6-7 years and nobody fixes this, Jeff. They have to.
This is now. I understand what you're saying, but this is beyond 2 or 3 years. We've been talking about the Giants' offensive line for years now, close to 10 years.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. But
you would think related, they'd have 3 fifths of a good line.
Well, I think they actually do. I think when you turn around eventually, I think Evan Neal's going to be okay. I watched him in college. I watched Andrew Thomas's first couple years in the league. He was terrible his rookie year. He was a little better in his sophomore year, and then all of a sudden he made a jump. I think Evan Neal's got the ability, and I think it's going to work out. Might not be this year. I don't know the way he's playing. I doubt it. But they are shitty at guards. But I like the center. I think the kid's going to be good, really good. And I love Andrew Thomas. I just don't like the fact that he's been out 5 weeks with a hamstring. Yeah, you're right, Frankie Catalano. It is hockey season. Now, Rangers kick off tonight. So, Jeff, you're right.
I got a question for Frank, please, before we go too far off the court. Frank, is it hockey season because it's hockey season, or is it hockey season because football season in Denver seems to be over at this point in time?
It might really be over tonight. When they play the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, anything I read, there's more and more players that they may have a fire sale.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Both.
I watched. Well, we'll get to the Jet game, and I want to get my dad in because he's been hanging in a few minutes. But that was an interesting game to watch from a bunch of perspectives, and I do want to get back to it. Let's get my dad on, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more Giants. We'll talk the Jets. Again, we'll talk a little baseball and so many other things along the way. So stick around, guys. We got a couple hours of sports and music. I hope Jeff's prepared. We're gonna induct our first 10 each bands into the Hard Rock and Sports Music Hall of Fame tonight. I hope Jeff's ready.
I'm ready, man. Don't worry about me.
Pepe has made his next video and did his journey across the country to try to meet Russell Wilson, although I'm not sure he wants to meet Russell Wilson anymore. And, of course, our Raider Report with the late, dear, great Dom Jinta to close the show as usual. So stick around, guys. We got a lot more to talk about right here at the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Let's get my pops on. What's up, Dad?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Tom. Yeah, I listened to what you said. I watched the Giants last week. I mean, they couldn't even get out of their stance, and the defensive lineman was past them already. They're not even putting blocks up. It's like me trying to put a block on it. You can't blame the quarterback, because if you're a quarterback in the NFL, you have to have some kind of goods. This kid gets the ball, and even if he's not tackled, he's under pressure. I mean, their offensive line, and I agree with both of you, it's the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen a guy come out of his three-point stance and not be able to touch the guy coming at him. They run right around him.
I got this for you, Mr. Florio. I don't know if you can see it. It's a New York Jets hat. It's time to come over to the green side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much better.
And if I may,
Yes, sir.
this is for you, Dad.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's so much better over the now, especially with Vera Tucker out for the season, another season.
Oh,
Goes to
with a fucking Achilles.
You know what? What I noticed in sports lately, guys, sports are getting very, I don't know. I started to watch part of the Arizona Dodger game last night.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
4 home runs in 1 inning by the same pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, I have never. I'm watching baseball, 70 years almost, and I've never seen a guy hit a ball that they thought was a home run, called it foul. First they called it a home run, then it was foul. The next pitch he threw was a home run. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it was, and there was only 4 runs they scored in the game. Dodgers get
Dodgers
swept.
never had the lead.
Yeah, it's funny.
At all.
Yeah, it's funny in baseball. I was listening to somebody the other day, and they mentioned it. I thought it was a really great stat. The top 5 finishers in baseball this year were in the first 10 days of the postseason were 1 and 10. That's Tampa, Baltimore, the Braves, the Dodgers, and somebody else. I'm trying to Tampa, the Braves, Dodgers, Orioles, somebody else. Huh?
Philly?
No, Philly won games. I'm trying
Atlanta.
Maybe Atlanta, but I mean, Tampa gets knocked out. The Rangers kick the crap out of the Orioles. Very interesting postseason. Not a lot of great games, but I did love last night. I don't know if you watched any of the Braves Phillies last night.
It was a great game.
That was a great game, and it had a little juice to it. You know what I'm saying? It had a little bit of juice to it.
Harper.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens tonight, and if that series actually goes back somehow to Atlanta Saturday night for Game 5, would be a really must watch for a baseball fan. So, but I gotta tell you, I've never been a big Texas Ranger fan, but Dad, I gotta tell you, this guy Bochy has done a great job with that team, and they look like a team to beat this year. I don't know what that, it's going to be hard beating the Astros, but that's going to be a fun series. And I'm a big, I want to be a big Texas Ranger fan.
I agree with you. The Philly looks good.
Yep.
I really like Philly a lot. Houston, very hard for me to judge them because you don't know what they're doing. But Jeff, I got to tell you, the Jets look good. I think they're a couple of plays away from win. They need running.
Well,
they
ran the ball great.
They need an offensive line too.
Yes,
and Wilson looks like he calmed down a little bit, but
yes,
he kind of regressed from the last game. He did okay versus Denver, but I also noticed they lost the momentum almost immediately. The Jets in the fourth quarter, one play went the wrong way, and it sucked the air right out of their sails.
right.
They were lucky that there wasn't a few more minutes left on the clock. I think they would have lost it because Denver definitely had the momentum at that point in time. But that fumble, of course, that mistake, but 3 points, especially when Denver wasn't moving the ball at all in the second half.
Well, I'm going to let you guys go. I just want to say, I guess you heard Dick Butkus has died.
Yes. Yep.
And I got to be honest with you. I've watched football. I can't think of another linebacker that I've ever seen in my life more meaner. He used to say, if my mother was on the line with the ball, I tackle it till I rip the legs off. It's the first time, and I think the only time, 2 number 1 picks.
Yes. Gale
came
Sayers
out of the draft and made the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Him and Gale Sayers.
Right. But their first year together, I think they made the playoffs, lost to something. They had a really good record, and they didn't make the playoffs the rest of their career together. Now, Sayers only played 5 or 6 years, so it wasn't forever. And I read something, and I have to look it up, that Jimmy Brown and Dick Butkus never played against each other. I have to look that up, and I don't know how that happened, but I thought that was
very possible. Very possible. He really wasn't a big guy. I mean, I think if he was 6 foot, that was a lot.
Yeah.
And he was so mean. They have a picture. I saw it once. I never believed it. Of him on a tackle on a poly guy, him actually biting the guy's calf.
Yeah.
Taking a bite out of his calf.
Yeah, just twisting guys' helmets off their head.
Yeah, he was
a prototype linebacker.
He reminds me of the guy from Oakland. I'm trying to think of his name.
George Atkinson?
Yeah, George Atkinson. Rip your heart out.
Yeah.
Anything to win. But I just figured.
No, we were going to mention it. Yep.
Enjoy your night. Tommy, I'll see you Sunday.
I will see you before Sunday, but I'll also see you on Sunday. And a big happy birthday to my pops. Sunday's his birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Birthday, Mr. Florio.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, Pops. I'll talk to you later. That's my dad. He checks in every week with us. And Dad's going to be 75 this week.
One thing I didn't get a chance. I don't like to disrupt your father when he's talking, unless he.
I
don't want to do that because I know he gets his train of thought, and I don't want to bother it. But we said about some of those guys being mean. Conrad Dobler, I believe.
Conrad Dobler, sure.
He used to take the screws in his helmet, and instead of putting them from the outside in, used to put them from the inside out. So when the offensive lineman used to slap them in the head, they would end up putting their right through them.
If that's true, it would not shock me. That was probably the dirtiest play I had ever heard of in my life. Thank you, Adam. I'll pass that on to him. Just figured I'd throw up an old photo that popped up this week, a little something from the very early days of our friendship, 1983 to be exact, St. Joseph Stage, where the band Sacrifice. Do you have any idea what songs we tried to play that day?
Yep.
Well, come on. Give me the set list.
Run to the Hills.
Okay.
We did.
We had to do Breaking the Law, guaranteed.
Breaking the Law. We might have done Living After Midnight, and I think we did Sacrifice.
Wow, that's right. Our one original, Sacrifice. Wow.
What's up, Raul? How are
Hey,
you?
Raul, how are you, buddy? Yep. So I just figured I'd pop it up. Joe Gansas shared it this week, and I in turn shared it. So I figured I'd pop it up here and just show how at one point we were probably a very handsome crowd at one point in our lives.
That certainly wasn't in that picture, that's for sure.
You tell the difference in camera technology over the last 4 years, Jeff.
Camera technology, and also those three people in that picture don't weigh as much as one of us does in real life. So,
very true.
Kansas looks like he's about in 6th grade.
Yes, and he might have been at that point, as a matter of fact. So I just figured I'd throw that up there and do a little shout out to the band Sacrifice, Rosebank's finest.
I think it should be said right here and now.
Yep.
That the cry for Sacrifice has been made.
It has been, but much like the band Triumph, much like Rush to a certain extent, I'm trying to think of some other bands out there that a couple of members are willing and able, and there's others who are not willing. So until we can reunite the three, it can never happen.
You never know. You never know.
Well, we'll see. Can always make it a charity event.
You would like to think that before it's all said and done, and everybody's hung it up, that there'll be one last appearance, because the question will always be why. Why didn't it happen sooner?
Yeah, it's very true. There's a litany of reasons. Probably none of them are good enough to say. But there was a cry out this week. There was a few who came out and said it's time, and all I can say is, some of us think yes, some of us think no. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe someday, but we do have the memories. That's all I can tell you. We do have a lot of memories. Did we try to play Charisma at that show? We did do Charisma for a while.
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking that, 4 of our worst songs we probably went out there and tried.
That's true.
Those were probably 4 of our best ones too. So.
I would have to say that was 4 of the best. Wow,
there was not much of a stage show.
No. We patted ourselves after Black Sabbath for sure.
There was the fit to end all fits.
That's true.
That's where that was born.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
And if I can find it, I will definitely play it.
What? The fit?
No, God, could you imagine having that?
I have the tape of one of our practices that you gave me. I do not have a tape from that show. Anthony Carey asked an interesting question, and he said, "Did I try to sing?" And I said, "I think I did try to sing for that show." And I'll give you.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. There was an interesting side note to that it was supposed to be a special guest performer with us that day, and he bailed at the last second.
Ooh.
That's right. It came to me this week, and I do remember the conversation. And that was when Paul Gill was supposed to sing for us that day. Play a little guitar and sing, yes. And that night before or that day, he decided that our talents weren't quite up to his abilities, and he thought it'd be best not to join us that day. No, not you, Raul. You would have showed up.
Fucking Raul will show up anywhere. You want to sing, Raul? He's there.
So, but that was 40 years ago. St. Joseph's in Rosebank, talent show. Not that we were after the talent show, and by the time we got to it was a full house. By the time we finished our first song, there was only one class left. It was Jeff's brother Greg's teacher kept her class there. You
remember more than I do, and Raul, I know you would show up, man. If we had asked you back then, unfortunately, we didn't know each other existed.
Yes.
But I don't think you would want to have been part of this.
I do remember all of that to this day, and I do remember Paul bailing on us. We asked him if he would join us because we had nobody to sing.
No,
but, I mean, at that point, if I did try to sing, I probably sounded like Peter Brady in the famous episode. So if I tried, so I also remember not being able to hear anything or anybody during that performance because obviously we had no idea of sound and how it worked. So
No,
I heard nothing.
no,
Yes.
none. There was
But I did sign autographs as we walked around the school
nobody
after.
even helped us. From what I remember, nobody even helped us get the stuff there.
No, we
stayed
carried
in
it.
school that day, and we fucking carried it from Joey's house in an A&P wagon.
Yes, that's
And I
right.
think we had the guitar amps and everything in there.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And as a way that we got to play, we had to set up all the chairs and
Set
take
up
them
the
down and
chairs,
put them away. Right? The only thing they asked us to do was sweep up. The only thing they asked us
It was a clean crowd, thank God.
Thank God is right. They didn't leave much behind. Certainly, but we did walk around and people asked us for autographs. So there was a few
Yes.
autographs given out that night.
Yes.
That afternoon. So it was a great memory and one that popped up this week, and I'm glad Joey put it up there. So who knows? Maybe with the coming Spinal Tap movie coming out, maybe that will spark a reunion of sorts. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yes, that is the early days of pay to play. That is correct. Before bands had to pay to get on people's tours, we it's up there, Mike Weissman.
Oh, yeah, Mike.
We were paying to play ourselves.
We were extorted by the Catholic Church.
Yes, us and many others.
We had to set up the auditorium for a play,
Yeah.
and then we were allowed to play.
Yeah, I think Joey had to go do some work in the rectory after it was over. I'm not sure. It's a rumor.
Yes, we had to set up. I remember that we had to put a bunch of chairs out.
Yes, absolutely.
Put them out in a semi-decent line, and I remember, oh man, wow, it was a lot of fun, man.
Yes, we always had a lot of fun back in the day. So again, just the Hard Rock and Sports Show, chewing it up a little bit out here. So thanks for sticking around with us tonight. We'll get back to do a little football. We're going to have our Music Hall of Fame, Hard Rock and Sports Music Hall of Fame.
I hope you got some people that are going to make me go like, wow.
No, I would tell you, I went straight at him, Jeff. I went where if I was absolutely giving votes to start a Hall of Fame, it's like baseball. If I was going to start a baseball Hall of Fame, I'd want to put Ken Griffey Jr. in. Yes, I'd want to put in Derek Jeter, but you got to go back to the roots. You got to go back to Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Ty Cobb and Tris Speaker. You got to put the horse before the cart. You got to put those guys out there that started it all, and that's where I went. And we're going to get to that. We'll talk a little Jet football, and then we'll get to.
I just changed.
You did
entrant on my list.
Oh, okay. Something came to you all of a sudden.
Yeah, there's been a couple changes. Okay. Actually, since I wrote out the list, I've just made 3 changes since I've been sitting here alone as I'm looking at it.
Okay.
So
I mean, listen, there's a million ways to go. I went more the traditional.
Now, remember, I told you that I wanted to make you turn around and be like, wow, you actually picked them guys. Wow. So.
Oh, I thought I did respond. Anyway, so, sorry, what did you say, Jeff? Somebody was texting me.
I said, I did tell you that I wanted to make picks that would make you be like, wow. Well, and I think I did that.
All right, good. Because, again, I went for the traditional who started it all route. Like I couldn't go for a newer band or somebody who came after when I missed the person who started it all. So we'll see. Maybe we'll be different. I'm sure we'll have a few that are gonna cross over. I guarantee you that. But in 10, I did have to do a little bit of tweaking. And we'll see how it plays out. We'll get to that. We're going to talk a little more football. Then we'll get to some of that. We got some music stuff. And like I said, we're rolling it till about 9:00. Could go after that's true. Festa could easily make the list. I don't see why not. That's right, Adam. I could not find a reason why to keep them off the list.
Adam, I love some of the things that you say, man. Like could go way off the reservation. Like you must come up with some good shit, man.
Oh boy. So again, Hard Rock and Sports, that's Jeff and I'm Tom, and we're here every Thursday night. We got the holidays creeping up, folks. We got a lot that, we're going to have our Christmas show. We'll have our year-end review, where, of course, unfortunately, Jeff has to do his traditional, it's got to be 7 or 8 years in a row now for the dead list, as we call it.
Yeah. Listen, that is one of the highlights of the night, or the highlights of the year, is doing the dead list. I do it as late in the year as possible, like the last day of the last show, because
Oh yeah.
we've had a couple late entrants.
Oh yeah. Last year somebody died right after we did the list.
People, we had to amend the list before the.
Yeah, that's
You know?
very, very true. On the first show of the following year, Jeff had to come back
Yeah,
and amend the dead list because they made it onto the year. So
yeah.
let's hope there's not too many more. Let's hope everybody sticks around and stays off. We've had way too many deaths, including Brooks Robinson and of course Dick Butkus from the sports world.
Don't blow it now. We only got a couple more weeks, and we'll go out the whole list.
All right. Well, just saying, there's a whole bunch out
We got
there.
plenty of time to get
That's
more
true.
names on there.
But the holidays are coming, folks. And, around here at Hard Rocket Sports, we love the holidays. We'll talk a lot about our favorite cartoons and our favorite movies and shows and songs, and we'll play them. And we'll enjoy everything about the holidays. That's what we always do here. So stick around. We got a lot of shows to do. We got a lot more to do tonight.
You got the.
There you go. And yes, that is. I started my own Snoopy Peanuts theme last year. Jeff was my inspiration. So I will be putting up I just have to decide, am I going to be decorating at all in the Florida house? And it doesn't seem like I'm going to. I'm going to be there before Thanksgiving, but I'll be gone a week or so before. So, and then I won't be back till maybe next year. So I won't be able to decorate down there, which I'm a little disappointed on.
Speaking of Florida rooms,
yes,
we have started the construction of ours.
Yes, I know. How'd it go this week?
So far, so good. The only thing we're waiting on now is the windows and the door,
Nice.
which have to be ordered to size, I guess. And once that's done, I told my wife, she says, that'll bring us almost till Christmas, because another 2 weeks will be the end of November, end of October, beginning of November, possibly, by the time it's completely done. And then we have to contend with Christmas. So I want to take it slow. I don't want to rush.
Sure.
But, maybe I can tell you this much. There's going to be lights out there. There will be Christmas, without a doubt.
Oh, and I would not doubt it for a second. So good for you. Like I told you, you need any help? My truck's trusty trucker around. If you need anything to help you with, but it's always been out there. I told you that 100 times.
Listen, you know what, Tom? I appreciate that. I always do. But the times that we don't get to see one another that often. So the last thing I want to do is just be doing work when we do see one another. But I appreciate it. And, listen, you never know what may happen. Right now I have a wide open room. So maybe there's going to be an Xmas party or something. Who knows? I don't know. I got to,
all right, well, listen.
See, you got to talk to the wife. She's probably hearing me right now. And I'll be expecting the text, be like, no. So
Shut up, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see.
So let's get back. Okay, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing the place when it's done. So all good. Let's talk a little more football. We touched on the Giants. I don't know how much more we could say, but let's talk a little Jet football. Here's the big thing coming out of that game, Jeff, that I noticed. It seems that the sentiment surrounding your backup quarterback has changed. It's almost like, well, he doesn't completely suck. People are actually starting to kind of buy into the Zach Wilson future quarterback thing. It's a couple of wins in a row. One close loss where he played pretty well, and then an actual win this week. I did not think he was great. I thought he played not shitty, and I thought he had some good moments. But as a Jet fan, what do you think?
He's not the answer. He's not the answer. He may keep you in a game here and there, and that's about the best he's going to do, is keep you in a game at best. You need somebody that's going to be able to carry the team for a while. And that person right now on the Jets is Breece Hall. He's the one carrying that team. I'm a little disappointed with some of the receivers. I was hoping to see more from Allen Lazard and a little bit more from the tight ends. But right now, I guess if you look at him, that he's not really turning the ball over that much, that's a good start right there. And listen, there's only so much more that you can ask for.
Yeah. No, I thought that finally Brees Hall had a great game. Obviously, again, Frankie Catalano basically told you our defensive, our rushing defense is horrendous. So it played into it. I mean, could have easily lost that game. I mean, I don't know how much you watched. I got home after we were all hanging out. I got to see the end of the first half and a really bad job by Zach Wilson on the 2-minute drill right before the half and let the clock expire with a bad pass inbounds and didn't get any points on the board. Luckily for the Jets, it did not hurt them. But if you're the Jets, do you have the formula, Jeff? Run the football with Brees Hall, a little bit of Dalvin Cook, and play good defense. And I think this Jet defense is not great by any stretch, but it's really, really good. And it might get better.
I think it's going to get better. I'm not going to say anything or label them great. What I think that we have here is a good, consistent defense. But I also think that a lot of momentum was taken from the Jets when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and I think that everybody was looking and be like, "What are we going to do now?" And I'm not going to say that this is the formula for them, because now how do you stop the run? You just put everybody up on the line, and they can't run the ball. So there are ways to shut down the run almost immediately. I would love to see them, get their shit together and definitely be a better team. But listen, they're being competitive. They've been in most of the games that they've played so far. You can't really ask for much more than that. They're not. The game's not over at halftime. Let's put it that way.
No, and again, it's all you can ask of them at this point. It's really kind of enticing to say, what would they have been with a healthy Aaron Rodgers and playing at this level with this defense and maybe this running game? So, Frankie, you said, I just gave you credit. I said you said that before last week's game. You were very adamant that they can't play, they can't stop the run, and the Jets exploited it. And I think it's
that's the whole point. The whole thing in the NFL, you got to exploit your the other team's weakness. That's what you do. You have to. If you don't, it is what it is.
I agree, but I thought that they did a really nice job doing that. I think the question is going to be, when teams have the ability to shut down the Jets running game, can Zach Wilson, can that offensive line win a game throwing the football 25 times or 30 times in a game? I don't know the answer. So far, I would tell you what I've seen this year, the answer is no. But the Jets can run the football consistently and play the defense that they've played so far. And I got to tell you, the one guy who's completely impressed me above all is Quincy Williams. Quincy Williams, the linebacker, that guy is all over the place right now. I mean, just absolutely an absolute animal. So it's a good team, potentially. They were on the cusp of falling apart, I thought. The game they lost against the Chiefs, I think, saved their season. I don't know how you could say a loss saves the season, but Jeff, I think that game, and as well as they played, saved their season.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, they did. It's a young team still. They're still being built, and you just got to hope that they learn from this and that their team just continues to play hard. That's all you can ask for. Yep. And I think right now, I mean, we're going to get a good show on this week when they play Philly.
Yes.
Let's see how they handle the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Frankie, I'm not a Sean Payton fan, but you got to have to give this guy a chance to come in and fix this team. I don't know, what you could do mid-season. I think this team had some issues coming in. I think Sean Payton's completely overrated. And
and for you and Frankie, all right, Frankie says that they trade everybody and then they fire. I guess that's the offensive coordinator or defensive
coordinator, Vance Joseph.
Okay. So now, what are you going to do you're just going to start building this team through the draft? And if that's what the case is Sean Payton too old for that? Is he going to want to be bothered with that?
That's a great question. But I think I think what the NFL has shown you is you kind of have to do a little bit of both. You have to do a lot of draft and a little bit of the right guys fitting in, because with the salary cap, with all of that, I don't think you can just throw a team together and think it's going to work, that way. So to me, I think he's in there for the long haul. I think he's another one of those guys who just wants to coach. We'll get to Belichick in a few minutes, but I think he wants to coach, and I think he's trying to win it with the veteran quarterback that he has. I think he thinks that he can win it with Russell Wilson. I don't. I think he's kind of got to blow this up, trade everybody like Frankie says, and then start building this thing the right way around the right quarterback. I
think Russell Wilson is facing the same issues that Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson are facing with his inferior offensive line.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's hard.
I don't think he liked Wilson after this last Sunday. That's for sure. He kind of laced into him coming in on the sidelines, but
yeah. Again, I think the kid's I think he's a frustrating person. He makes a lot of. Right before the half, they're driving down. I think there's I want to say 12 seconds, and the one thing he can't do is complete a pass inbounds, and he throws a pass inbounds. So it's let's say it's 2nd and goal from the 15 or the 12. So either you get the ball in the end zone or you throw it away and then you kick the field goal. He throws a 5-yard pass inbounds, guy gets tackled, and they don't get to the line of scrimmage fast enough to spike the ball, and they don't kick a field goal. Did it hurt them in the end? No. Could it have? Sure. And that's just being a smart player, especially as a quarterback. You have to. And, listen, I don't know, Frankie, you may be right. It might be time to back up the fire sale, sell off the big pieces that you got, and build through the draft and bring in some smart free agents. It's a great question. I don't think they got a chance tonight against the Chiefs. I have to look at their schedule going forward, but it's going to be interesting. But Jeff, where do you stand on on Zach Wilson? You're officially you have not started buying in yet, right?
No, I'm not. I don't think that somebody's going to play like shit for 3 years and then all of a sudden come back and turn it around and start leading his team with his arm. And I just don't think he has it. I don't think he has it.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but here's one thing I want to throw at you, There's a guy playing in the league right now, and he may be, he's a guy quietly doing a really nice job. Better than nice job. And for a couple of years, people were done with him. He got traded, and that's Jared Goff. Jared Goff has turned into a really, really good quarterback. Maybe not a great one, maybe just short of great, but Jared Goff is a solid NFL quarterback, better than solid NFL quarterback. And there's a guy that after the first couple of years was getting run out of town. Went to the Super Bowl and was just lost out there, got traded by the Rams, kind of like sent off to Siberia, not realizing that he was going to turn it around. So, there is a case could be made that Zach Wilson, in his 4th or 5th year, not to say the Jets are going to hang on to him that long. I'm just saying there's a case to be made that guys thrown at it too soon can turn it around.
Well, you know what? Listen, I was always under the impression with Goff, for example. Mm-hmm. Okay. What was he, the 2nd pick in the draft? Something like that?
Something like that. 2nd quarterback taken. Yeah. Wentz went first, I think, and then him.
And here's somebody that took the Rams to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Now, listen, we could all go down the list and come up with quarterbacks that have taken teams to the Super Bowl that might have just been a little on the lucky side. But I didn't think that Goff was one of them. I'm not saying Goff was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Okay. Listen, also Colin Kaepernick got a team to the Super Bowl. Rich Gannon got a team to the Super Bowl. Nick Foles took a team to the Super Bowl. Does that mean that those are Jimmy Garoppolo took a team to the Super Bowl? Does that mean that they're Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks? No. But the Rams, when they had Goff, were a pretty solid team. And I didn't see the point of them making him the pariah and getting rid of him. And listen, he went to Detroit. Detroit's been building for decades. for decades. Sooner or later, they're going to hit something. It's almost like it's possible. It's not impossible. It has to happen sooner or later, and it's happening with them now. And listen, I don't think he's a bad quarterback at all. Is he Patrick Mahomes? No, but he's a good quarterback, and I think he's proven it again.
Oh yeah, I agree, and I think, but I think the point was a couple of years ago, people basically had him out of the league. He was in the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton category, and now he's definitely that second level.
His contract to expire or something in Detroit, and then they were looking to move on from him.
Yeah,
but he's been working out pretty good over there.
Yeah, he's done a great job, and I'm just saying there. So there is something to be said. There is something to be said for giving a guy an opportunity. Now, I have not seen enough out of Zach Wilson. I don't know if the Jets can wait 3, 4, 5 years for Zach Wilson to get to be where Jared Goff is now. I don't know. This is a team that really kind of needs to win in the next couple of years. You know how things go. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to be starting to talk about paying Sauce Gardner. You got to pay Quincy Williams, or you're going to pay Garrett Wilson. There's a lot of stuff going on here that you got to be careful of. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I did mention Jared Goff for a reason, because I think the guy has really done a great job turning it around. Is he part of the reason why, Jeff, that the Lions have turned around? Are the Lions the reason he turned it around? Is it a mutual thing? I think it's interesting.
Just want to look up his numbers real quick.
Overall of this or last couple of years?
Oh, overall, he's 111 of 159 for a 69.8 completion percentage, 1,265 yards, 8-yard average per toss, 253 yards per game, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's been sacked 7 times with a rating of 104.4. Now, you know what? Here's the thing. Sacks. He has protection.
Yeah.
He has protection. He has a decent running game. He's got Montgomery, who's got 371 yards after 4 games, and Gibbs, our boy, with 179 yards. For the ground game has gotten 705 yards on 165 carries, 4.3 yards per carry. All right, so he has some support with the run game.
Sure, absolutely.
And he's not a stupid quarterback. He's not a stupid quarterback. I don't know what his fumbles are, but he's not turning the ball over via interception. That's for sure.
Yep.
So, listen, he has some brains. Maybe you got a coach that believes in him and a team that believes in him, and that's going to make him want to play harder.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I just wanted to point that there are opportunities for reclamations, and
I could give you another one too if you want.
Sure, go ahead.
Look at ex-Giant quarterback Geno Smith.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good one. Sure, absolutely.
Now I wouldn't want to wait the amount of time that they waited for him to get his act together. Ex-Jet, Giant Geno Smith. But listen, the last 2 years, he had to be one of the better quarterbacks, not the best, but one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Definitely in the top 10, I would say.
Sure. No, listen, the last 2 years, he's turned into a quarterback. Why? I don't know. I think we all wrote off Geno Smith many years ago.
Yeah.
Not only, did Geno Smith went from can't start on the Jets, got traded after getting punched out by one of his team, became, bounced around the league a little bit, went to the Seahawks basically to be a backup to Russell Wilson. And then when Russell Wilson got traded, I guess, Geno Smith got the job basically because it was him or Drew Lock, and he turned into a good quarterback. Now, again, do I want Geno Smith coaching a quarterback in my team in a big spot? Absolutely not. I still think Geno Smith's still going to fall apart in that circumstance.
Like, he's just worth waiting to see when it all crashes and burns. Listen, the greatest moment I ever seen with Geno Smith was when Rex Ryan started him and had him do nothing but hand ball off all game. That was incredible. That was incredible. He ran the ball like 75 times that game or something, some insane number. I think he threw the ball twice 2 or 3 times. It was a laugher after a while.
Yeah, crazy. Frankie Catalano putting up the news review. But yeah, I mean, yeah, so there are reclamation projects out there. It does happen. Unfortunately, the only problem that you have is, I don't think the Jets can wait for Zach Wilson. He may have this reclamation project on his next team. Who knows?
If they wait on Zach Wilson, I can assure you, you'll see Robert Salah and Joe Douglas hanging from the fucking goalposts.
Yeah.
In Met Stadium. It's bound to happen.
I got to share something with you. I just, where is it?
They're liable to be hung, drawn, and quartered.
Yeah. Guess see who that is?
Looks like Billy.
Bill Belichick at McDonald's after getting blown up by Derek Carr.
Hey, listen, it happens. There's somebody whose career may be at the crossroads.
Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. I do want to talk about Bill Belichick and the Patriot way, the Belichick way, and I do want to get to that a little bit. But let's get to other things. And Jeff, just to be safe, I want to make sure that it is the holiday season. We haven't talked about it the last few weeks, so I do want to get it back on track for our good buddies, Joe and Mike over at Hemp Wizard, Jeff. And, of course, the boys have their own, got us our own signature series, a little smell there, the Sunday Audible, which is something we thank them for. And you can go to hempwizard.net for their full line of beard and skincare products. But Jeff is an unpaid spokesman as well as Adam Hines, but Jeff's an unpaid spokesman. Hope to be a paid spokesman someday.
This is the first batch. And I don't know if you can see it on there. Can you see the difference? I don't know if I can get the red. See the red in the corner?
I do see the red in the corner.
All right. I keep it off to the side.
Okay.
So that I can keep it separate. Can you see it? It's almost like a lava lamp in there.
I see that, yes.
Okay. That is the Sunday Audible. That is the first batch of the Sunday Audible.
The what they call the prototype, as they call it, Jeff. The prototype.
Yeah. There it is. It is now in its proper state. And when you smell this one, leather, peaches, vanilla, good stuff, man. Good stuff.
It just smells. It says football, Jeff, and Hard Rock and Sports.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys are out there looking for a great gift for your friends and your family. And Edna, if she's hanging around with the bad beard again this year, you can reach out and get the beautiful line of beard care products. And of course, for the ladies who don't have a beard, and even for the guys, I guess, they have their great line of skincare products as well. So do me a favor, support the local businesses, small businesses. Our buddies Mike and Joe down at Hemp Wizard, and do us a favor and when you get a minute, reach out and support. So,
see if you ever seen this. Does this remind you of your childhood at all?
Does that remind me of my childhood at all? I can't say it does. Why would that? What's the trigger?
Is an old-fashioned Halloween candle.
Oh,
that I bought. I keep it in the wrap. I don't want nothing to happen to it. I don't know if you can see it.
I can see it. Yep, got the big-headed pumpkin guy.
I remember when these were the plastic ones, and they would the light would go in the back, and you would put it on, and by the time you shut it off at night, it would be all soft because it was going to melt.
Mm-hmm.
And I have him right there in my desk. I got more toys and everything else on my desk than anything else.
Yes, I well, that's what life's all about. If you look around this room here, one of these days I'll walk around and I got all my little trophies and trinkets and stuff hanging on the walls. And
if I want to play cards,
there you go.
Charlie Brown Christmas Peanuts playing cards.
Oh, I got one for you. Hold on. I have the official Paul Gill deck of cards from his 50th birthday party.
Yeah, I got them around somewhere too. They were in the closet / base room.
Yep. So you gotta have the nostalgia stuff. There's I believe his room's full of nostalgia. Some of this nostalgia's got to go to Florida, so I can empty his room out a little bit. But We'll see. But again, let's get to some music stuff. We've done Jets and Giants. We'll talk a little more football. But right now, Jeff, I think it's time to unveil the first 2 rounds of the, I would say, the inductees into the Hard Rock and Sports music, because we're not dumb enough to call it rock and roll. We're going to call it the Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who you got, man.
All right, so we're going to go through our first rounds. We have 2 rounds of this. 10 total bands are going in. I will track to see how many we both agree on. So I will keep track of that. So I will have Jeff's up. Jeff, would you like to go first?
I will go first if you like.
Sure. Give me your first 5 bands. Now, is the first 5 bands in your end the top 5, or is it the second 5? Then you're going to give me the last 5 is the top 5. How's it work?
I went from my last one will be my number 1.
Okay, so right now this is technically number 10 on your list.
Yes.
Okay, good, Jeff. Give me your top 10, starting with number 10.
Number 10.
Now, only give me 5. I'm gonna go. You're gonna go 5. I'll go 5, and then we'll do our last 5.
Okay. My top 10. I went with first Metallica.
Okay.
All right. I figured that we had to get them in. They definitely made a contribution to music. Although I have fell off the Metallica bandwagon, I had to put them in for their older stuff. So that one was that's done. Number 9 would be Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
I will put Jimi Hendrix in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be there. He's was definitely an influence on a lot of bands that are on this list. Number 8, I'm going into the British invasion, and I'm taking the Beatles, and I'm putting them in number 8. They're too influential. They have to be there. The next one is a 2-headed monster, but they are tied together, and you'll understand why when I announce them. But at number 7 or number 4, depending on which way you count it.
Well, number 7, go ahead.
I have Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
Wow.
Okay, I feel as though that they're just a talented band. They had great harmonies. They need to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, my Hall of Fame.
Go for it.
Number 6, Queen, Freddie Mercury version only, and Queen.
Interesting. Wow. Very. You know what? I applaud you. I applaud your thinking, and I should have equally done that into the back day with the Beatles and I didn't, and I bow to your greatness for thinking that way. But I'll give you my bottom 5 and my top 10 list. And at number 10, I also had Metallica.
Okay.
Metallica for their legendary greatness, filling arenas to this day. Their influence in the thrash world. They did lose some points for me because not enough albums, certainly not enough good albums, and they're an arrogant bunch of peckerheads. So they did have to make the list. My number 9, Jeff, was Queen. I think just the influence, the greatness, maybe the hidden greatness. I thought that they needed to be in there, and I think Freddie needed to be in there. And unfortunately, I couldn't put him in there as a solo artist. So Queen going in there as my number 9 band. My number 8 band, Longevity, just a straight up rock and roll band. And I think part of the tree of life in the rock and roll world, AC/DC. I put AC/DC in there. Not the most talented band I've ever seen. Not the band that's, going to knock you off your feet. But the first, I don't even know, maybe the first 7, 8 albums, just between 2 different singers, just killer stuff. And to this day, still knocking it out the park. After that, I had to go Van Halen. And my next 2, I could have flip-flopped, but I went Van Halen next. Again, maybe not enough great albums. Too many different singers. But the classic lineup of Van Halen, to me, is just absolutely amazing. Just too good not to be on anybody's opening list to get in the Music Hall of Fame. And I'll end this one.
Remove them off of my list.
Yeah, they were on, they were off.
List.
Yeah, they were on and they were off. But between just Eddie alone, I had to put him on there. But Van Halen's just those first few albums are just 4 or 5 of the greatest albums I've ever listened to. So I had to do it, and then I ended my bottom 5 of my top 10 with Judas Priest, and Priest is one of the forefathers of metal, the metal I grew up with, the British way, the new wave of British heavy metal, Twin Guitar Act, the leather, the motorcycles. They took what Black Sabbath did and went to a whole different level. And they had to make my top 10. So I went more the heavier version than you did, but I'm happy with my if this was my opening day lineup for Hall of Fame, I'd be a happy guy, Jeff.
I just so that you know, out of my first 5, originally number 7, I had Dio. I removed them and I inserted Crosby, Still, Nash and Young.
Okay.
All right. So
I had Dio on my original lists, and I took him off. I had to make room, and he was one of it was him or AC/DC, and I just didn't think he had enough solo stuff to be out there, and I didn't put any of his bands per se in there. So.
Yeah,
Jeff, so give me your next 5, culminating with the number 1 band or number two bands that you would put at the top. Go ahead.
Okay, well, number 5 was another two-headed monster. I felt as though they had to be lumped together, and they'll always be lumped together in my eyes. And that was Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
Wow.
2 bands that I feel could share the stage equally for a variety of different reasons, and that'll forever be tied together in metal music. I just think, when I think Judas Priest, I think Iron Maiden and vice versa. I don't think it really matters which one you like more, but when you know that they joined forces together on the Number of the Beast and Screaming for Vengeance tour, it was there ever a tour that was more heavy metal ever. I think it might have been the greatest tour. I didn't get to see it, but I think it might have been one of the greatest tours, if not the single greatest tour of all time.
I would say metal world. Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that.
Okay, now I'm about to blow the back of your head off. With number 4, somebody that I am a particularly big fan of, but number 4, going into the Hall of Fame, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Wow.
He's got to be there, man. He's an incredible talent. Just unbelievable. He definitely deserves a place in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I think some of these bands I put in there, the Beatles for the British Invasion, Hendrix for what he started, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young for their vocalization, and Stevie Ray Vaughan opening up the blues wing in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in my eyes.
Okay.
Number 3 is also another innovator, and I thought about this. I had originally Kiss on the list, and I was like, nah, and I took them off the list, and I went with the one and only Ramones.
Wow.
They were punk rock innovators. I love the Ramones now. It took me a long time before I got into them. I'm just like to say that the Ramorons are playing on. Now we've added a 3rd show to our illustrious tour on October 28th. My vacation's going to have to wait a day. But Ramones had to make the list. Number 2 on the list was Alice in Chains. I think that Alice in Chains definitely, for what they brought to the world of grunge and a kind of a crossover band between grunge and metal, I think that they had to be on the list, and I want to include them in the Hall of Fame. And then number 1 on the list, man, the one and only mighty Black Sabbath with Tony Iommi. Tony Iommi deserves his own spot in the Hall of Fame, but I'm putting him in as Black Sabbath and Tony Iommi as innovators and inventors as what we know heavy metal right now. So I have to put them both in together, but separately. And that is my pick. If I was going to make a Hall of Fame, those would be my top 10 to get into the Hall of Fame.
So can I give you some of my, give you a little, I think you were overly influenced by the fact you're in a Ramones tribute band for the Ramones. Now, I think that, listen, the Ramones, definitely innovators in the punk world. They're definitely legendary. Making a top 10 list, boy, that's a stretch and a half. But listen, it's your list. You're allowed to put whatever you want. Alice Chains, again, that's your priority.
A year and a half ago, I would have agreed with you. But after getting into their music, playing their music, and reading about the Ramones and knowing more about the Ramones now than I ever did before, that was a large influence in putting them in the top 10.
No, listen, I think it's fair. It's your list. So there's no such thing as wrong. That is your list, and that's what you put in there. Again, Stevie Ray Vaughan, I get it. Definitely an innovator, great guitar player. Not my type of stuff. I don't like that bluesy music too very much, but I get it. Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I thought the Beatles were a nice touch. Alice in Chains, again, not my type of thing. I get the grunge thing. I do like a few songs, but I think it's, and of course, Sabbath has to go up on anybody's list. I would tell you we share 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bands of it. Of your 11, you have 11 technically with Maiden and Priest going in. So we have.
I had to put them in at the same clip. That tour.
That's simple enough. No, I think it's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think that's fine because they really do go hand in hand. They're same types of bands with the, with the twin guitars, the great singers, just a
little bit of theatrics.
Man, Iron Maiden running around with the fires and the bombs, and Eddie, of course, Priest with the leather and motorcycles. So good job by you. I like your list. Again, if I was voting, most of your bands would get my vote, but not all of them. But that's what it's all about. So I'll give you my top 5 now, and simple list for me. Number 5 was Rush. I think Rush, 3 of the most talented musicians to ever happen to play in the same band together. The music was out of this world. The lyrics were out of this world. Sometimes a little over the top, a little too much. Caught some middle ground where there was maybe a little too much synthesizers and keys going for me. But ultimately, 2 of the greats to ever play their instrument ever, and Alex Lifeson's no slouch. And to me, a spark of a genre where bands like Queensryche and all these the Satrianis and all those guys and all the sound, to me, all came out of listening to that Rush and just that craziness. So I put Rush in there. At number 4, I went with Iron Maiden because to me, the only thing that separated Maiden from Priest was Eddie, and I think that is the greatest mascot / character / just trademark. You see Eddie, you see Iron Maiden, the shapes, the shape of the name. To me, that you just spells metal, and to me, Iron Maiden gets in there a step or two ahead of Priest because of that, and I also think Maiden, because of Steve Harris, and the drummer, I think is a little more talented band than Judas Priest, just a little bit. And then my last 3 are pretty simple. Kiss goes in there because they're Kiss. They've been doing this longer than most people. Their first 20 years are better than most people's 50 years. They're innovators. They did it. Makeup, no makeup, makeup again, different lineups, and it's all the same. They have the greatest gimmick ever. You could put any 4 people in a mask, and people would have a hard time knowing who's who. At the end of the day, the music is great, and all the stuff behind that, just good old-fashioned down-home rock and roll, bar none. A band I'm not a fan of is my number 2 because they're the other 3, and that's Led Zeppelin. I'm not a fan, but they deserve to be up there. And then, of course, I went with the Mighty Sabbath Those are the guys that started this whole thing. For me, I went more traditional in the hard rock and metal world than Jeff did, but I obviously think the Sabbath, while not my favorite band, but definitely a band that deserves to ride the top of the line. My genre, Jeff, and my favorite genre of music, Sabbath is the start, the beginning, and the end of it all. And glad I got to see them play. So there's my top 10, Jeff. We got 5 of the same 11 bands. And hard to argue with most of them. I guess you could probably say you don't agree maybe with Rush or Kiss. I know you took Van Halen off your list.
They would have. Kiss was on my list too at one point. I had to remove them. I thought about putting Rush on. I thought about putting Led Zeppelin on. And while they would definitely make my Hall of Fame if it was up to me picking, they just wouldn't be within the first 10.
Gotcha.
Listen, if I had to rethink my first 10, maybe it even changes again. Who knows? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a knee-jerk thing when you think about it, because it's like you could be listening to a certain kind of music for the week, and now all of a sudden have to come up with a top 10. You're going to come up with a completely different list than if you were listening to old 80s metal or something of that nature. So you don't know. But Tom, I got to step away a real quick second and do the pee-pee. I'll be right back.
All right, so it's Hard Rock and Sports. Jeff and Tom, we're here hanging on a Thursday night, and we still got some more stuff to talk about. I see that Bruce Dickinson's got some solo stuff coming up. Kiss obviously is coming up on the end of their road tour. Let's see. Judas Priest got a new album coming out. The single hits tomorrow. You know, Priest's last few albums, Firepower. I'm trying to get the other one. I bought them all. The music is good. It just doesn't stand out. It's like the last few Kiss albums. They weren't terrible. They were good songs. You didn't go, oh, this is horrendous. There just wasn't any hooks. There's nothing to make you go, I got to listen to that song again. You know, it's almost just like they forgot how to write a song and have that hook in it that gets you. And I'm sorry, guys, there's got to be a hook. And everybody's hook is different. Whether it's melody or arrangement, something in the song gets you to want to hear it. You know, there have been songs over the years that I've been, when I'm in listen to a CD or back in the day cassettes, and you'd want to rewind the song 10 times in a row. And you listen to it till you go, I can't hear that no more. You know, that's what's missing from music today. There isn't a song coming out. Now, I've gotten totally into country music lately. But, you know, so there's a lot of stuff that's been out there for a long time that I'm starting to listen to. But a lot of this new music from these old bands, it's good stuff, but it just doesn't equal up to what they did in the past. And I just wonder, you know, why it's so hard to write that same way again. We've talked about this before. So, but again, Priest has got some new music coming out. Dickinson's got new music coming out on the solo end. There's a Heart biopic. I'm curious. I wonder if I would watch the Heart biopic. Jeff, would you watch a Heart biopic?
I got to be honest. It all depends on who's playing Heart.
I guess that's true. I can't say you're wrong on that one. I can't say that you're wrong on that one.
You know, who would you want to see? I ain't gonna ask Adam Hines. I'm gonna give Adam Hines a chance to answer that question too. Who would you want to see?
Well, I think one
would be Jennifer Aniston and that other chick with the brown hair, Sandra Bullock. You can't pick them.
No. It's got to be the what's it? Ann Wilson. Nancy is the guitar player, right?
Yes.
I think so. All right, Nancy Wilson's got to be played by like Nita Strauss or Courtney Cox. You know, the two. The one Nita Strauss is in Alice Cooper's band.
Courtney Cox is too old now, man.
No. The guitar player Courtney Cox. The guitar player. She was in the Iron Maidens.
Yeah, but you know,
again, you need a real guitar player chick to play Ann Wilson. You can't. It's like this. I say this all the time. You can't watch a baseball movie with a guy playing baseball who looked like he's never played before. It's the same thing. If I'm watching heart. Now you can fake the singing part. That much like you can fake. But if you're playing Ann Wilson, you got to look like you played guitar before. I'm sorry, otherwise it don't work for me. Sorry, Jeff. That's if there was the Jeff Towinski story and they brought up a guy who never played bass before, I'd have to not watch the movie.
I don't think anybody wants to make a movie for me, man.
Well, you never know. You're in the Morons now. Sacrifice. There's some big stuff out there.
Yeah, God, maybe. Who knows?
But yeah, I think I'm definitely going Nita Strauss as Ann Wilson, as Nancy Wilson. Ann Wilson, that's a really good one. The real, she doesn't look like her though. I'm thinking like one of the pop twins, like either Britney Spears or no, who could probably pull it off? I don't know if I guess Katy Perry would be somebody who could pull that off. Somebody like that has got to play that. You need somebody who knows the moves, who's comfortable on the mic, on the guitar. When I watch it, probably not. I'm not a big enough Heart fan that I would. I might tune in depending on who's playing the leads, but for the most part, I'd say no.
Oh, Susanna Hoffs. Yeah, she may fit some of the bill, but here's a girl now she's getting a little too old to be playing. You need somebody young.
She got to be 60, no? Yeah, I would say if you're
older than that, she may be around 65.
You think? Oh,
yeah, I would think. Dude, we've been here 60.
That's true. We are near 60. I forgot.
Yeah. I have bad news for you. There's a lot of people that are way older than you want them to be. Right now.
Well, it was funny when I saw the Dick Butkus die. I was like, he's 80 years old. Dick Butkus, while a great football player, Dick Butkus was a funny actor. I can think of a few movies that Dick Butkus was in where you just he cracked me. First off, the Miller Lite beer commercials. He was great. Absolutely great. So
Susanna Hoffs is 64 years old.
Wow. She's 9 years older, 8 years older than me. Wow. I would never have thought that. Well, all right. Listen, it's interesting. We'll see if anybody's going to get into the Heart biopic. We'll see how that plays out. Jeff, I was talking. I said that you got some. What's his name? Bruce Dickinson's got some new project coming out. Oh man, I just shut it off. Where is it? Hold on a second. I thought I shut you off.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I got you. No, everything went black for a second. I'm just looking up my screen. Bruce Dickinson. He has something called the Mandrake Project. I love Iron Maiden, but Bruce Dickinson's a dick. He really is just a fucking total tool. Honestly, he's a total tool. He's just one of those guys who's just too smart and too good for his own good.
Yeah, listen, this is what happens when these people have too much time on their hands.
Yeah, just too much arrogance, too much. Again, here's a guy who's an Olympic fencer, a jumbo jet airline pilot, obviously one of the greatest frontmen singers of all time. In the metal world, the guy's done Broadway. He's done all this crazy shit. So I get it. I guess you get the. But I don't know. What is the fucking Mandrake Project? I mean, just call it Bruce Dickinson and move on. Like, I just don't understand any of it. But anyway, he's got a solo tour coming up. What's the name? Priest has got some new music coming out. There's a single coming out Friday. Any interest in checking it out? You're gonna scroll online, see if you find it, take a listen.
I'll check it out. Yeah, if I remember. To be honest with you, hoping to remember that to even check it out. And
I've also read that what's his name? James Hetfield says Lars Ulrich never rehearsed. Metallica's Hetfield. Lars Ulrich never rehearsed until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I find that interesting.
I find that hard to believe, being that they showed them rehearsing for the Saint Anger album.
Yeah, I don't get what that, like, what does that mean? Like, what is that like? Is that supposed to be like this badge of honor? Oh yeah, we never practiced. Wait, so does that mean if he never practiced, did the band practice with a different drummer, or the band never practiced?
Who knows? I have no idea. That's a good question.
He's saying him specifically, but did that mean the rest of them practiced without him? I don't know. I wish that they would go away and we could just go back and listen to the first few albums and remember when they were just absolutely killer band, like just absolutely instead of the tools that they've become.
Yeah, I hear that, and I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No, we're stuck with them, and I get it. But at some point, just shut up and say, "Remember, I did this album," and be done with it. Remember, I did Kill 'Em All. Remember, I did Ride the Lightning. What was your first? What was your first? Oh, no way they did that. Yeah, I agree, Adam. There's no way in the world that they didn't practice up until 4 or 5 years ago. I don't even know what that means.
I don't believe that either.
Yeah, I'm not buying into that. But what was my first foray into the Metallica world? I'm pretty sure was Ride the Lightning. I don't know if there was one of those like you bought and I heard it. I know we had it. I mean, Richie, but I don't know. That was my first foray. Then I think I backtracked into some of the other stuff. What do you remember the first thing you ever listened to for Metallica?
Yeah, it was Kill 'Em All.
Okay.
First one I ever heard was Hit the Lights. That was the first one that I ever heard.
And you bought in right away?
Yeah. I was on board pretty much right away. I'm not the biggest Kill 'Em All fan. I just never really was, but I like Ride the Lightning better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's probably, I don't know. I would guess that's my favorite one because it's the first one. I'm pretty sure, but interesting. I just thought I'd throw that. Let's come back to a little football, Jeff, before the show ends tonight. I want to talk to you about. First, I want to bring up. We were talking last week about how dismal the Tampa Bay Rays game was. Here's a Tampa Bay team that's been good for years. They go out and win 90-something games every year. They challenge for the playoff. They're in the playoffs every year. They're almost in the World Series every year, and they had less than 15,000 people at their playoff game. Well, the Tampa Bay Lightning, had their opening day game a couple days ago. Do you know how many people showed up for a hockey game at 5:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday?
9,000.
20,000 plus.
Wow.
So in the middle of October for opening day hockey, on a Tuesday night at 5:00, I think it's 5:00, people are basically still working. They were able to fill 20,000 people plus in a building. And a team that goes to the playoffs every year is playing for a right to go to the World Series. Not an opening day game, playing for the right to go to the World Series. Drew less than 15,000 people, and they're building that team a new stadium.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Craziness. Yeah, Joey said it. That Tampa's a hockey town now.
Yeah,
and I guess he's right. I don't know why baseball pushes so hard to have teams in Florida when nobody goes to the games. Nobody goes. At some point, you got to give up and go. Let's go someplace else.
Well, two teams in Florida.
Yeah.
2 teams.
Yeah. I mean, just doesn't make any sense. And in Miami, it's a big Latin community. There's a lot of baseball fans there. A lot of people from Cuba and South America. I mean, people who are just rabid fans, and they get nobody to go either. So I don't know. It's just something I wanted to bring up and point out to you. Let's talk a little bit about Bill Belichick. I brought his picture up before, but I want to bring up Belichick. And Jeff, a couple weeks ago, they were soundly thrashed by the Cowboys. I think that was like a 34-3 or 30-something-3 game. And then this week, to the Derek Carr-led Saints at home, the New England Patriots were shut out. I believe it was 34-0.
The magic is starting to wear through. It's starting to wear off.
Well, here's the thing. Now, somebody said it this week. I won't take credit for it, so I'm just going to repeat it. Somebody said, and I agree, I don't think Belichick has forgotten how to coach. But I think it's a long stretch now where you could say that Bill Belichick, the general manager, has kind of fallen on the way off the wayside here. And, you got to go back for quite a few years to find some success on the offensive side of the ball through the draft. There was some talk this week, people talking, well, could he get possibly fired during the year? First question, and I have a bunch of them for you. Do you see any way possible that Bill Belichick could actually be fired in the middle of a football season?
No.
Okay.
At the end of the football season, too, they would let him walk. They would persuade him to retire.
Well, so let me. If you're Kraft, you're 80-something years old, you're trying to win another championship, and you're Bill, you're almost 70 years old, you're trying to win another one yourself. If Kraft comes to you and say, Billy, I want you to coach my team, but I want to bring in a general manager, and you're not picking it, do you think Belichick, after all these years doing this all himself, you think he can live with that?
Oh, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. We didn't think that he would coach this long without Brady, and there he is. He's still out there coaching, and Brady's retired finally. So you don't know. Does it? I don't know. I don't think that he would say no to it. To be honest with you, I think it would be one thing off his plate. Let him concentrate more on the field.
Yeah, I disagree. I think that there's a guy who's been his own GM for so long. The guy who's been, the unquestioned genius of his era, generation. I don't think he can take on somebody else coming in and telling him who he's going to draft, who he's going to play, all of that good stuff. I have a hard time believing that. But if I'm Kraft, I think the question really is it time for a break, Jeff? Is it time? Is the team not buying into Belichick? And we all know after a certain amount of time, people stop listening to you. They hear the same message every day. Is it possible that it's time to just say, hey, Bill, here's your statue outside. Here's your gold watch. We love you. Come to all the games. You get a booth. You get your own suite upstairs. We'll make you team president. And it's time to go away. Do you think it's time for that, or is it just they needed a general manager?
Well, listen, you don't know what he's opposed to. Maybe they're asking him to stay. Maybe he wants to leave. But then again, if he's their general manager, what did he forget how to draft talent? This was a guy that knew when to get rid of people, when to take people off the heap from other teams. And now all of a sudden, they're what are they, 1-4 at this point?
And they're abysmal. They're abysmal offensively.
Mac Jones came into the league. He wasn't doing so bad. Now it looks like the guy may never play again after a certain point in the season. The guy's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes the philosophy's got to change a little bit. And when you do things a certain way and successfully, listen, there's no doubt he can have 3 more really bad years. And to me, it's not going to affect his legacy. This is a guy who did something that nobody else came close to in this generation. The sheer dominance. Now we could say a good piece of that was Brady. I don't know if you put it all on Brady or a good piece of it. How much does Bill get? But he was the architect. He was the guy pulling the strings. So he's got to get a big piece of that. So the question becomes, at what point, if you're Bob Kraft, do you go, Bill, it ain't working. It's time to go.
I don't know. Maybe it's Kraft that though. Who knows? You don't know what all the ins and outs are.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I think something's coming.
Speaking of interesting, look at this last comment.
Oh yeah, I guess they must. I guess we got the games on Prime. I haven't switched over to watch. I'll probably do that after the game, after the show. So interesting.
He went from that this was the best. So I got to look it up and see what the story is, and that he was the best there ever was. And well, they're only losing 3-0, but
it must be playing
evidently the score does not tell the complete story, I guess.
What else do I want to know? Oh God, Frankie. Again, I've been sour a long time on Russell Wilson going back to his Seahawks days. I think his time has passed. I think his mind is no longer on football. But listen, Sean Payton, maybe the time is maybe there's another guy who's just time to move on, and it happened to him in New Orleans. There's a guy who was very successful there, Jeff, and it just didn't work anymore. Maybe it's the same for Billy Belichick now.
Well, we will find out.
Could we ask you this last one on Belichick? Could you see him going somewhere else and coaching somebody else's team?
No, definitely not. I couldn't see that.
Yeah. I have a hard time. The only team I thought that he could actually go to at this point in career that would make any sort of sense would be the Giants. That's where basically he got his name. That's where he got to start. That's a place I thought he should have coached after Parcells. That's the one place I thought he could go back to and start all over again with a team. Obviously, it's not going to do that now with Dable there and Shane. But that would have been, if this had been 2 years ago, before Dable and Shane, I think that you could have had a conversation about it. But other than that, no, I maybe going someplace to be team president, like Coughlin did when he left the Giants, and just being there, kind of maybe the Dolphins or a team in Florida or California, someplace warm. I could see it, but starting over again as a coach, Jeff, I couldn't possibly see it.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, just to run through quick, Cowboys got their heads handed to them last week by the Niners. Typical Zach throwing interceptions all over the place. They think 3 straight. Seems like the Niners are the cream of the crop this year, Jeff. So far.
Yeah, so far. But listen, don't anoint them. It's too soon. You don't know what may happen.
Nope. Sometimes you could get too hot too soon. That's
Seen it happen before.
Huh?
Seen it happen before.
Absolutely. Let's see. So the Eagles beat the Rams, Jeff. No surprise there. Bengals rebound, beat the Cardinals, but everybody's beating the Cardinals. Here's an interesting one. The Jaguars, who have not looked good all year, beat the Bills 26-20 in London. Surprised by that one?
No, not at all, man. No, I don't know.
My Lions, who I picked to go to the Super Bowl this year, look like a tough team. They went out there and beat the crap out of the Panthers 42-24. I believe they're 4-1 now and playing pretty good football with, again, quarterback we talked about before in Jared Goff. Teams coming together. It looks like they're playing well for Dan Campbell. Are the Lions for real?
Well, I wouldn't say they're for real until we get through like half the season. Somebody's got to be up there on the top of that. They're playing an easy division right now, a division that's not exactly the strongest. I don't think that they're a bad team. I think they're trending in the right direction. So let's see what happens. They could be 16-1 once they get in the playoffs. What happens? Do they get knocked out in the first round? Are they going to know what to do when they get in the playoffs? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's see what happens once they get close and once they get in.
All right. Well, speaking of the Broncos, and we know they're playing right now on another channel, which I'm sure people are watching right now. There is a gentleman crossing the country, maybe illegally. We're not sure yet, and we need to get an update on Pepe. And do you think that was the time?
Yeah, man, it's nearing the end here.
All right, let's get Pepe on right now.
It is I, Pepe, the Pepster, if you will. But here I am to talk about last week's loss to the New York Jets. Every Bronco fan in the world hates the New York Jets, yet we do not know why. Last week, Zach Wilson played like the second coming of Joe Montana in the game, ripping and tearing apart the Broncos secondary. Threw for almost 200 yards in a game. Russell Wilson does not play like that. Oh, no. No, he is not even close to the talents of the one they call Zach Wilson. See, as much as I like the Wilsons, I like the Russell Wilson better than the Zach Wilson. Please don't get confused. Anyway, the Jets' victory, even though a complete victory over the Denver Broncos and my Russell Wilson, was disgusting. They were robbed. By the referees, by the fans, by the other team. My team, the Denver Broncos, was robbed. This week, I predict victory for the Denver Broncos. That is all I'm saying, and I continue my quest to find the one, Russell Wilson. Thank you very much.
Jeff, interesting. First off, Pepe has nicknamed himself the Pepster.
I see that.
That was interesting. I also thought Pepe got a little confused for a minute or two. He was, for 1 minute, praising Zach Wilson and bashing his dreamboat, Russell Wilson. He quickly reversed himself. He caught himself, Jeff. But there was a second there where it sounds like the Pepster, as he calls himself, was fawning over one Zach Wilson.
He may be switching allegiances.
Well, again, a couple more bad losses. Anything's possible, I guess.
Oh, well, let's see what happens. Listen, every week, the pendulum swings.
I see that. So I guess I'm going to guess maybe after tonight, it's possible we could have another Pepe next week. It might not be so good. So we'll see. It's excuse me. We'll see how it plays out. But another great job by the Pepster, as he certainly nicknamed himself. So Jeff, before we get to the final our Raider report for the week, I do have our new kind of segment here where each week I go run through the games and I ask you whether they are watchable or not watchable.
Okay. I'm laughing because I feel bad. I actually feel bad for Frank.
He's come to the realization that we have that Russell Wilson sucks.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I mean, all of a sudden, Stidham is the man. Here's the thing: he's not listed in the fucking stats, so he couldn't have played. So,
all right. So let's run through this week's games, Jeff, and you tell me whether this is a game you got to watch or you don't care. All right.
Okay, go ahead for it.
All right. So tonight's game obviously has already started, but Jeff, if we weren't doing the show, is the Chiefs at Chiefs home to the Broncos? Is that a must-watch game?
An AFC West game could be a must-watched game. Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
So this is a yes. Jeff, I will go right to our teams. This Sunday, the Bills are 14-point favorites over my beloved Giants in Buffalo. Jeff, is this a must-watch game?
Yeah, man, dude. I don't know. I don't know if you want to sit there and watch this. This may not be one that you want to sit through. Matter of fact, there may be several Giants that are going to take PB days on personal business.
All right, so we're calling that a not. I don't have to watch that one. All right.
Yeah.
For something, the 425 game this week, the Philadelphia Eagles travel up the turnpike to face the Jets as 7-point favorites. Jeff, is this a must-watch game?
No, not really. But it's going to be one of those games. If you watch it, you're going to be bored. If you don't watch it, it's going to be one of the best ones ever.
Okay, that's fair enough. I think it's a must-watch game because to me, if you're the Jets, again, if it turns out to be like the Chiefs game where you lose, if you're in this, you're showing yourself that you're right there, that you're getting there. If you go out here and you get blown out at home by the Eagles, it's going to set them way back. So I think this is a must-watch game, but I can understand your point. Jeff, another odd game for me, the Ravens, which I think this game is in London, facing the Titans. Is this a must-watch 9:30 Sunday morning game?
No, I don't. Not too interested in anything Titans, and slowly followed by anything Ravens. To be honest with you.
Broncos INT in the end zone. All right, Frankie. See, things are turning around right away, Frankie. Jeff, I got another one for you. The Falcons at home, an odd Falcons team. At home, 2.5-point favorites over the Washington Redskins. Is this a must-watch game?
This may be two up-and-coming teams that are going to start on the rise to get better. I would watch this one, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. An NFC North old-time matchup, Jeff, where the Minnesota Vikings travel as 2.5-point favorites over another disappointed season for the Chicago Bears. Jeff, is this this AFC North matchup a must-watch?
It's not, to me, it's not must watch, but I would definitely watch it if I could find it to see what goes on with Justin Field. You know, everybody was down on him. He had a semi good game last week, and now everybody's high on him again. He went up in the quarterback ratings a lot, you know, with one good game. So I would want to see him, like, you know, get to watch him play. Let me see what happens. I think that he may be somebody that's definitely on the wrong team right now. Maybe a trade would do him good.
Change the scenery.
Yeah.
All right, interesting. All right, let's move on. That's a very interesting matchup. The maybe getting healthier, the Cincinnati Bengals, 3-point home favorites to your boy Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Jeff, is this a must-watch game?
Well, it would be nice to see if Joe Burrow is getting better, but Geno Smith, I believe he has some kind of injury that he's near, a hamstring or something. I forget what it was, but he's got some kind of injury, and Joe Burrow is finally starting to heal from that strained calf muscle. So, you know, let's see if he's heading in the right direction.
All right. Another game I don't think I would watch. The 49ers 5-0, traveling across the country or semi-across the country as only 6-point favorites. That's a little scary to me. Why is this only 6 points facing the probably Deshaun Watson-less Browns, who, by the way, had a sore shoulder and said, I'm not playing. He was cleared to play. He decided not to play. Not a good look for a guy coming off this shit. But, Jeff, is the 49er Brown game a must-watch game?
Browns defense is the number one rated defense in the NFL right now.
Yes.
So I would say, yeah, I would let's see what the number one defense could do and see if they could stop a team like the 49ers right now. I don't think they'll ever meet in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl. Well, let's see what the number one defense could do against the Niners.
All right, so it's a bunch of interesting matchups so far. Let's move down. The 13.5-point favorite Miami Dolphins are at home, Jeff, against the Carolina Panthers in a AFC matchup. Jeff, any interest in this game?
Not really, but I mean, listen, with the way that the Miami Dolphins have been playing, who knows? Maybe they're going to score another 70-point game. Who the fuck knows?
All right. A game, the Jaguars coming off a big win in London against the Bills, come home and face the Colts, who will be missing rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson, who has already started his career off by getting hurt constantly from running the football. They will put Gardner Minshew and the mustache. Oh, I don't think he's got the mustache anymore. Behind center. So, Jeff, is the Jaguars Colts a must-watch game?
You know, listen, whenever you hear Gardner Minshew's name, he seems to be an entertaining little fella. So I would say I would watch it if it's on. And let me hear, who names their kid Gardner?
Who has the name Minshew?
And who puts Minshew and Gardner together?
A moron, Jeff. A complete effing moron.
Are we talking about Gardner's mom or Gardner's dad?
I'm not sure, but somebody needs to be bitch slapped for calling their son Gardner Minshew.
There should be an investigation in this.
I would say.
I wonder if
special method in that house.
Let me ask you something. Is that a name like that? Do you expect to hear Gardner Minshew the fourth or something like that? You know, or
no, that's a name that's got to die right at the vine, right there. if he's got any balls in his life, if he does the right thing for the future, Gardner and Minshew die off right there. But
before the seed hits the dirt,
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, next game up to me is a snooze fest, but you got the Derek Carr led Saints on the road, 1.5-point favorites over the Houston Texans, who have played some decent football this year with rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud. Jeff, is this a must-watch game?
Not for me, no.
Okay. I'm going to hold the next game till the very last. Next up, I got the somewhat surprising L.A. Rams at home, 6-point favorites over the Arizona beat me up again this year Cardinals. Jeff, any interest in watching this game?
No, that to me sounds like it's going to be a snooze fest, man.
Oh, yeah. This actually might be the best game of the day. Both teams playing really well. Both teams' quarterbacks surprisingly playing well. and that is 2 reclamation projects in the Lions and Jared Goff versus the at-home Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are underdogs in this game, led by Baker Mayfield. Jeff, surprisingly, I will watch this game if it's possible.
Yeah, I would too, man. Baker Mayfield is actually doing a lot better than I thought. And yeah, I would watch him.
Okay. I think that's an interesting matchup in Tampa. The Monday night, that is actually the Sunday night game. The Monday night game, Cowboys coming off a bad beating by the 49ers. Again on the road facing the LA Chargers. To me, probably one of the most disappointing teams over the last 2 years is the Chargers, a team that I thought was very talented. May challenge last year for a Super Bowl shot, and so far have not competed at the level I thought they should. But Jeff, the Cowboys on the road as favorites at the Chargers. Is that you find that game to be a must-watch game?
Definitely not, Collins.
Yeah, I'll put you on that one. And we got one more game. I skipped over it, which is the Raiders and the Patriots. But before we get to that, Jeff, we're going to get to our next Raider report with the one and only Dominic, not here anymore, Ginta. So let's play that, and then we'll get your take on the game itself. So stand by for this week's Raider report.
Hey, boys, it's me, Dom Ginta. Why am I here? I'm here for the Raider report. Why do you need a Raider report? I'll tell you why you need a Raider report, because you're due. And I'm going to tell you something else. Last week, we get the W over the Packers. The Raiders get a victory. The victory train is coming through your town next, wherever that may be. Doesn't really matter. All I know is that Jimmy Garoppolo was on fire. He also got sacked a bunch of times, but that's okay. He got us to win. We're back in this. We're going to be challenging for the division soon. I'm telling you right now, Pat Mahomes and company, watch yourself, because here comes Jimmy G and the boys. We're going to take it. We're going to do it this year. I promise you. You watch. This week, the Raiders win by I don't know. I'm going to just throw a number out there. 37 points. That's all I could say. Later.
Yeah, the little fella's fired up. His team's winning games, and they got Jimmy G behind center, and the little fella is fired up this week. And his Raiders are at home versus the Patriots. Are you as excited about that game as he is?
Well, listen, you would like to think that anytime that the New England Patriots lose, that's good for if you're an AFC East team favorite, which I am with the New York Jets. So I would love to see the Patriots go further down, get kicked further down the line, and push towards the number 1 draft pick. I relish that moment. So yeah, I would love to see them fucking lose. And listen, I feel bad for the half man. I wish the half man was still here with us. So I would nothing more than to see the Raiders squeak out a couple good games. And unfortunately for him, he wouldn't be able to see it. Maybe he does see it. I don't know. According to the videos, he knows what's going on, but I don't know.
I just know that
they're pre-recorded and they're being sent to you.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't realize that when you're in heaven, you don't change your clothes every week, and there's always a Christmas tree in the background. So
you don't get dirty.
No, you obviously don't. You maybe don't smell. You don't have anything falling over you when you're eating and drinking. So, if the Giants aren't going to win it, I hope the Raiders win it so that the half man could smile down on us. And I'm sure he does anyway. I'm sure he smiles every week when he listens to us. And we keep his memory alive when he sends us these reports. And we do miss him here on the show and the family. So anyway, but another Raider report, and he's predicting a big W by 37 points this week. And he might be right. The Patriots have lost a couple of games by 30-something points, so he's not that far off, Jeff. He's not that far off. So we'll see.
No, he might not be.
All right. Well, that we did get 2 hours tonight. I forgot that I wasn't feeling well because I've had some fun. We did our top 10 inductions into the Hard Rock and Sports Music Hall of Fame. We talked a lot of football tonight. We talked a little music, and we did a little stroll down memory lane. We brought up Sacrifice, which you don't get to do too often. So we had some fun with that. Jeff, I know you guys have added another show with the Remorons. I think that's, was it the 21st, the 25th of this month?
The 28th.
28th. Okay. Okay. And then, of course, November 25th at Mother Bugs and December 30th at Mother Bugs.
And then December 30th. And then I also got 25 Missions on October 21st.
That's one. Okay.
At the district. The place called the District.
And that's a animal. Is that for the animals? Is that
for the animals.
Good for you guys. That's terrific.
A fundraiser for the animals, so that's always a good thing.
100%, absolutely good for you. I know you're happy. You're getting to practice a lot. You're getting to play a lot. So good for you, man. I think that's terrific, and I hope everybody gets out and supports Jeff and the band. And they're all good dudes in those bands. So if you got a minute, I'll go down and support my buddy, and of course the rest of the guys in the band. All talented, very nice people. So I think that would be really nice of everybody. And of course. Thanks to everybody who tuned in tonight, Frankie and Adam and Louie. And thanks there, brother. Thank you very much. I hope you're going to book a show this way because we will definitely, absolutely come out and see that happen. That's for sure, Adam.
Without a doubt, man.
We will definitely make that a probability if you're coming to town. So let us know when that's going to happen. And, of course, thanks to everybody who tuned in. Thanks to my dad, and a big happy birthday, 75 to my pops on Sunday. I'm going to get to celebrate that with him. And thanks to everybody who chimed in and joined in. And remember, there's still a lot to do this year. We got a lot of big shows coming up down the line. And we'll be back next Thursday to do this all over again. So, Jeff, I'll give you the last word before we shut it off tonight.
Listen, man, once again, another good show. Had a lot of fun, and look forward to next week already. And we're not even done with this week yet. But
good night, Adam.
Have a good night. But, a lot of football left in the season, and hopefully a lot of videos from Pepe and the other fella there, Dom.
There you go. That's it. We'll see the culmination of Pepe's journey. Maybe that'll be the last week of the season. Maybe Pepe gives up on his team after a couple of more bad weeks. We'll see if there's a reveal, and we'll get to see the real Pepe one of these days. So in the meantime, you guys, thank you for all tuning in. We really do appreciate it. It's a lot more fun when we know you're out there and you're chiming in with us. It makes the night go that much faster. In 2 hours goes by in a snap. So,
yep.
Anybody listen, guys, enjoy your week, the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your next week. And make sure to come back to the Hard Rock and Sports next Thursday night when Jeff and I get together and do this all over again. So for Jeff Kowinski, myself, and everybody at the Hard Rock and Sports Show, I say thank you very much for bringing us into your houses tonight. And enjoy your week, and we'll see you next Thursday night right back here again. Hefe, I'll talk to you off the air.
Later, man.
Later, man.
Bye.